Welcome to the Minesweeper project on bbteacher.com. Alright, now we're going to do a very interesting section in which we create a routine that will clear out the blanks on the sides of the sections of the board that have no mines. Before we do this, though, we're going to do a little side project here. In the Solution Explorer, open up the code that has the mine cell, and I want to add a new property to it. I'd like to be able to control the color of the button, and so we're going to go up here to the top to the private field area and add a private M button color as color equals color light gray. Alright, and then down in the public area, public property, button color as color, return M button color, and M button color equals value. So there's the new property, and we have to use that somewhere, and the place we want to use it is down in the button routine. And when we clear out the background, we're going to replace that with M button color. And now we can control the color of the unclicked buttons. And we're going to use this to create a cheat board. And this cheat board is going to allow us to see what's going on under the buttons before we click them. Now back up at the top where we hide the mines, we're going to go in here and minefield YX button color equals color red. So we're going to color all of our hidden mines red so we can see them. Let's run that and show you what that does. So now we can see exactly where we've hidden all our mines. Like I said, this is a cheat for now. And then down below here, after we do the minefield and set the number, the count, we're going to show the ones that are greater than 0. So if minefield, and this is row column, number is greater than 0, then minefield row column button color equals let's color it a different color, color green. So we're going to color those green. So now let's see what that looks like. So now we can see where all the numbers are, and these areas here that have nothing under them have a 0 count. And if we click those right now, they don't work at all, but the green ones do and the red ones do. So we can quickly create a cheat for our game. Now this board is actually kind of small, and to make it a little larger is really quite easy to do so that we can see things better. At the very top of the program we have a cell size, and we've set that at 20. Let's go ahead and double that to 40 and show you what that does for us. And now we have a nice large visible board, and we can click on it and make things happen. Alright, now that we can see the board and see what's going on underneath it so we can test it very quickly, let's examine our mine cells event handler again. And here we have that if there is a mine, it does this big loop right here and shows all the other mines. Now we're going to take a moment here. Actually, I want to redo this loop. It's much too complex. And so let's clear that out and put in a much simpler little short loop, a little more elegant loop. I want to show you how this can be done easier. There is a for each kind of loop that will loop through all the elements of a collection. We're going to use that here. We'll use for each M as mine cell in minefield. And it turns out that minefield, even though that can be addressed with as a two-dimensional array, rows and columns, you can also treat it like a collection and use a for each loop. And so this will simply loop through every single thing in there. Let's make that an MC. Now for each MC as mine cell in minefield, if MC.hasMine, then MC.view equals mine. Try that again. All right. Now, if you've noticed here that all of a sudden these got shorter, there's a reason for that. At the beginning of the program, you can actually add an imports statement, and this imports statement will shorten up some of these long lines, minesweeper, minecell view. If you put this line in imports minesweeper.minecell view, it's going to shorten up all of these lines that use the values of the like this one here, minecell view number. This can actually be abbreviated now just to number, and all of these can be shortened up a bit. Down here we can have these just show flag, and here this can just be button. It really shortens the code up to put that import statement in, and that's another little change you can make. Here we can go just question. Look how short the code ends up looking when we're done with all these abbreviated after putting the imports statement in. And so this whole section now is really quite simple. If it's a button, make it a flag. If it's a flag, make it a question. If it's a question, make it a button. It looks very simple now. Alright, so back up here now. This we need to test. So let's test to see that the mines still get all turned on when we click on one, and the red ones are the mines. So we'll click on a mine and it does work just fine. So our short loop with the for each, which is much shorter than the older one, works great. Okay, next we need to create our routine and have a place to put it. Now let's restructure this if then to be a little bit different. If M has a mine, then we show all the mines. Let's change this, get rid of this end if, and make this an else if. Alright, so now it's else if M number is greater than 0, then do this, and then else if M number equals 0. That's the third case. Then do this last thing. And the last thing is the thing that we're going to address here, and we're going to create a sub that will do a mass clear out called show blanks, and we're going to send it the cell that we're on, which is M, and that will be our new routine. Right now we haven't written it yet, so it shows an error. Now we need to find a place to put it. Let's just put it down here at the bottom. So private sub show blanks, and we're going to pass it a mine cell. And the first thing this thing will do, this subroutine will do, is to immediately, we know we've just clicked on a cell that has a 0 for a value of its number, and so we're going to change the view of that. So we'll say m.view equals, and we'll change it to a number view. Now right now that will actually work. We can run it like this, and we can click on one of these cells and they just clear out, but they don't clear out their neighbors. These still work and the mines still work. So our event handler is looking pretty good. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to try and clear out all the neighbors to this cell. And so we're going to loop through these. And here's what the loop would look like. We have to loop through all the rows and columns in the 8 cells neighboring, and that's very similar to what we did when we were counting the cells. And so for for a row as integer equals, now the mine cell contains an x and a y, and the row is the up and down, so that's the y. So it's m.y minus 1 to m.y plus 1. So this will go one row above and one row below. And for c as integer equals m.x minus 1 to m.x plus 1. And this will do the columns within each row. And so we'll again have that 9 cell deal. And we will be we'll be looking at each of these cells. We have to check it to make sure the cells are on the board, and that's similar to what we did before. And so the next thing we're going to do is to set up a short variable for this. So dim mc as mine cell equals minefield and row column. Now we have to be a little careful here because some of those could be off the board, so we have to do our check first. So if R is greater than or equal to 0 and R is less than board rows, and C is greater than or equal to 0 and C is less than board rows, and then we can end if. Now that should actually give us a look at each of the cells there. So these are the 9 cells. This has made sure that they're legal, and this will shorten up the code later on by abbreviating this minefield RC. And so now for these 8 cells, the first thing we can do is check them to see that they are in the form of a button. So we're only going to be looking at buttons. So if MC view equals button, then we're going to do some stuff inside here. And what we're going to do is, first of all, we could look at these and see if they are blank or numbered. We could just clear all those out. And let's just do that just as an experiment. We'll say MC.view equals number. So this will now clear out the 9 cells neighboring the one we just clicked on. Let's try that out, see if that works. Now we should be able to click on a cell and clear out the cells around it. So that looks pretty good. It should also overlap if it has some numbered cells next to it, and it shows those too. See, anything that has, now it should not be able to click on a green cell and see this. That doesn't work, but it's only when you click on a gray colored cell it'll clear out those 9 cells around it, and we're nearly there. This is just about what we want this routine to do. However, we can really make this a lot more efficient with one small change. So now down in this loop, we're going to divide this button routine up, and if the MC, that's one of the 9 cells, not the central cell, if MC.number equals 0, then we're going to do one thing, else we're going to do something else. We're going to switch it to a number view if it's anything other than a 0. And here's the real secret to the whole routine. If it's a 0, we're going to call the same routine we're in, show blanks, and we're going to send it MC, the cell that we're sitting on, one of those 9 cells. So now this will recurse. In other words, if any of those 9 cells is another blank cell, it's going to clear the cells around it. And so this should now spread out and clear all the cells in a region around the one that's been clicked. So we'll test this out. And what we'd like to get is one of these gray cells, and with a little luck, there's the big routine that clears the whole half the board at a time. See how quickly this clears those out, and if you know what's underneath, of course you can do this beautifully. Now this whole section plus the green ones along the border should all clear out, and these shouldn't work. These should clear out everything there. So you can see then that this does the mass clear out that we wanted it to do. Now this should clear out everything, including the next row of green along the edge. Any cell in here should do that. And this should clear out this corner, including the first row of green, and this should clear out this corner, including the first row of green. So there's our routine. There's our recursive show blanks routine is now done. And that'll conclude this section, and thanks for programming along with us.